Hace 34 años, Siria y Egipto lanzaron un ataque sorpresivo contra Israel, en un intento de recuperar territorios árabes conquistados por Israel en la Guerra de los 6 días. En julio del año pasado, 8 soldados israelíes fueron matados y 2 reservistas secuestrados por Hezbollah. Israel lanzó una guerra contra la organización terrorista. En ambos casos, la inteligencia israelí fracasó en identificar los indicadores y examinar los reportes sobre la situación, muchas veces ignorando información vital. En el caso de la Guerra de Iom Kipur, la dirigencia política y militar de Israel estaba todavía regodeándose en la euforia de la Guerra de los 6 días. Cuando hubo indicios de ejercicios militares masivos que realizaba Egipto, los líderes de la defensa israelí no lograron identificarlos como preparativos de guerra. El brigadier general de reserva Efraim Lapid, ex oficial de inteligencia israelí, aceptó discutir esos temas con InfoLive TV.
When we speak about the Yom Kippur War, which occurred 34 years ago, we see the map of the Mediterranean and Arab map, which doesn't include Israel like the Arabs do. It was 1973, 6 years after the 67 war, 6 years of euphoria of the Israeli society and the Israeli establishment, including the military system. And the feeling was that at least the leader of Egypt, late Anwar Sadat, was a weak leader. And a weak leader, according to the assessment that was at that time, will not initiate any war against Israel, especially after he threatened Israel in 1971, 1972, and nothing occurred. So we thought that a war is not on the agenda of the Arabs, especially not of the Egyptians at that time. In Israel, the Prime Minister was Golda Meir, Minister of Defense, very experienced Minister Moshe Dayan, once again, after being the Minister of Defense in the Six-Day War, and Chief of Staff, relatively new, David Elazar, Dado, and the Head of Intelligence, Major General Eli Zeira. At 2 o'clock in Yom Kippur, war started in the 2 arenas, in the Egyptian front and the Syrian front. It was a very, very bitter war with more than almost 3,000 killed soldiers. This was a war between Israel and the 2 armies of Egypt and Syria. This was totally different from the war in a year ago with the terrorist groups who were not commands like the Egyptians and the Syrians. So of course the difference is also not only from a verbal point of view, but it meant that Israel could use all weapons in ground forces, navy and air force and anti-aircraft missiles in order to achieve the goals of the war. As I said, it was a very bitter war, but it ended with a relatively success of the Israeli defense forces, while we were 100 kilometers from the capital of Egypt, from Cairo, and we were also in the Golan Heights near the capital of Damascus, the capital of Syria.
As you said, the intelligence at that time pointed to the probability of a war breaking out as being fairly low, even though there were large sort of exercises being conducted by Egypt and the Syrians. Now, if I'm not mistaken, also Jordan's King Hussein also alerted Israel to the fact that they are going to launch a war, and his warnings weren't taken seriously, also by the intelligence community. How can you explain that?
It's a tragic situation to see so many officers of the Israeli intelligence sitting together day after day. It was not one day of a meeting and all the information was discussed. It was a daily discussion and a daily analysis of the information, including the information that came from King Hussein. And we think that the only definition we can say it's a mental block. Because when we check now the information, a reasonable person, even not experienced and not an expert, should immediately say that these indicators show that a war is going to
war
break.
Is brewing.
Yeah.
Desde que se produjo la retirada de Tzal del sur del Líbano en mayo del 2000, Hezbollah no desperdició el tiempo para lograr su objetivo último, la guerra. Almacenó armas, fortaleció sus defensas, construyó una red de búnkers y adquirió cientos de misiles de corto y largo alcance. Años de preparación bajo las narices de Israel. Mientras que el establishment monitoreaba la situación, falló de forma miserable en sus conclusiones. Cuando se desató la guerra, las tropas en el terreno recibieron mapas aéreos desactualizados, y cuando fueron enviados a los poblados a destruir los reductos de Hezbollah, la información que recibían era muy diferente de la realidad que confrontaban. Mientras que no es posible comparar ambas guerras, un asunto es dolorosamente evidente. En ambos casos, la inteligencia israelí falló en sus análisis.
The role of intelligence in preparing a military force for war is very important, and especially in Israel, while war is also a current effort of the Israeli military system, and we invest a lot of resources in the intelligence in order to be able, first of all, to give the early warning for war or also for peace, and also the daily early warning for the different terrorist activities that are carried out by our neighbors. A year ago, in July 2006, one Israeli soldier was kidnapped in Gaza Strip, and a few days after, another two reserve soldiers were kidnapped by Hezbollah in the Lebanese arena. Israel, with a new leadership, a new prime minister, a new minister of defense, relatively new chief of staff, decided that we cannot give up, we cannot see again a situation like was in September year 2000, when 3 Israeli soldiers were kidnapped and there was no military response from Israel. So within 24 hours, Israel initiated a war. The situation that we faced after 34 days of bombing and firing rockets by Hezbollah was totally different from the preparation that we thought should be in such a case. This was a war which caused big troubles and big damage to the Israeli home front. And it was more a war in the home front than in the military front of South Lebanon. So this is one of the big changes. I relate afterwards to Yom Kippur War. The role of intelligence in such a case, like the Second Lebanon War, was first on the strategic level, saying what are the intentions of the leaders of Hezbollah, and second, on the tactical level, to know where are the different sites where the rockets are fired from. And since we speak about capability of intelligence of seconds or sometimes only minutes, this is a very sensitive and problematic situation. We were prepared with the basic picture of the infrastructure of Hezbollah in South Lebanon. We were not able to give the pinpoint of the sites of the rockets real time. I think that to conclude the aspect of intelligence in the Second Lebanon War, we can say that the intelligence gave quite a good picture of the strategic level of Hezbollah, knowing where are the commands, where are the sites of the strategic rockets, and they were bombed immediately within 2 days.
You're talking about the long-range
The
rockets?
long-range,
Yes.
the long-range rockets. We were not effective enough to know in real time, where are the sites of the rockets that fired many times a day toward the north of Israel, while 1 million Israeli citizens were in shelters.
Luego de ambas guerras fueron establecidas comisiones especiales por el gobierno para examinar las fallas y negligencias cometidas por los líderes políticos y militares.
We have to remember that when we fight against regular military systems like Egypt and Syria, it meant that all is open. We could bomb, we could fire, we could target every target, every mission that we thought. That was not the situation in Lebanon. In Lebanon, we were limited by our decisions, civil and military, political and military considerations, that we don't want to destroy Lebanon.
En su reporte interino de abril de 1974, la Comisión Agranat, un cuerpo establecido luego de la Guerra de Iom Kipur para determinar la responsabilidad por la falta de preparación del ejército israelí, argumentó que no podía tomar en consideración los antecedentes militares de Moshe Dayan y que debía juzgarlo como un ministro de defensa civil. Por tal razón, la comisión concluyó que Dayan no tenía responsabilidad personal y que su responsabilidad ministerial era una cuestión pública y política antes que judicial. Dayan ofreció su renuncia al entonces premier Golda Meir, pero esta no fue aceptada. La comisión echó la culpa al ejército israelí y pidió la renuncia de David el-Azhar, entonces jefe de Estado Mayor. La primer ministro Golda Meir asumió la total responsabilidad y renunció el 11 de abril de 1974. Poco tiempo después de concluida la Segunda Guerra de Líbano, fue establecida la Comisión Vinograd para evaluar el proceso que llevó a la decisión de salir a la guerra. En su reporte interino, la comisión declaró que la decisión de responder con un ataque militar inmediato y de gran envergadura al secuestro de los soldados no estuvo basada en un plan militar comprensivo e idóneo que hubiera surgido del estudio de las complejas características del terreno libanés. La comisión interrogó a los dirigentes políticos y militares y estableció que los principales responsables por aquellas fallas fueron el primer ministro Ehud Olmert, el ex ministro de Defensa Amir Pérez y el ex jefe de Estado Mayor Dan Halut.
The challenge is to bring the intelligence to the troops in order to be effective. Intelligence is not a factor that should be filed in offices. We have, of course, to use it. And what was in these two wars that maybe the basic early warning was not proper enough, but the the current intelligence in the Yom Kippur War was quite good, and the limitations of the intelligence in the Second Lebanon War, as I said before, the limitations were that we didn't could observe any post or any site where rockets or missiles were fired, because it was a change of minutes to redeploy the units. So there is a big difference between the Hezbollah and the military systems of Egypt and Syria.
El Estado de Israel ha sido blanco de amenazas desde el momento de su misma creación. Miles de soldados que pelearon en ambas guerras murieron o fueron heridos defendiendo a su país. Su memoria debe ser honrada y sus historias contadas para que no caigan en el olvido. Asimismo, el pueblo de Israel puede hacer más. Solo queda esperar que si se desata una nueva guerra, los tomadores de decisiones habrán aprendido de las lecciones del pasado y los servicios de inteligencia sean capaces de proveer un cuadro de situación más preciso que permita al gobierno y al ejército tomar las decisiones adecuadas y brindar información vital a las tropas que luchan en el campo de batalla.